Hello everyone, I'm the Nerdy Fool and welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker. We are now officially a Baroness. We gained this barony and we are in our throne room, and last time I immediately jumped into making decisions about my kingdom, as it's calling it, my barony, and accidentally skipped forward 2 weeks. So I decided, before we make any more decisions, I'm going to take the time to actually talk to people and get a better handle of what's going on now in my barony before we start making decisions of where we want it to go. So let's start talking to Castle and find out his story. Castle Aldori, elegantly dressed in formal clothes, as always, welcomes you with a courteous half bow. Your Grace, I'd like to know more about you. Happy to serve your Grace. Castle bows courteously. Tell me of your origins. I grew up alone on the streets of Restov. I know nothing of my parents. It's more than likely that my mother just wanted to be rid of me. Probably left me somewhere in an alley as a baby, and I don't feel I have the right to blame her. I don't remember how I survived. My first memory is of sneaking into someone's backyard. I must have been 3 or 4, and trying to steal food from a cat. Castle smiles sadly. A half-orc among Brevik aristocracy is a rare sight indeed. It definitely is. Lady Jamandi Aldori herself brought me into the family. She picked me up off the streets when I was about 14. I was fighting some lord's guardsmen. Their master had expressed his wish, in a most inappropriate manner, to acquaint me with his female wolfhound, in the hopes of producing offspring. Castle's lips turn up slightly at the corners, stopping just short of looking sinister. No other sign of emotion crosses his face. I was at what would politely be called a disadvantage when I saw a flashing beam of light reflect off of a lone sword. What happened next was too fast for me to follow, but all 3 of my torturers fell to the ground, a single woman standing above them. She turned to the Lord and coldly asked him, "And just what is it you're doing here?" Castle speaks almost reverently, genuine awe in his voice. I've never seen a Restovic noble so afraid, but he was also almost reverent, and this lord was a close companion of the mayor at that. At the time, I had no idea who this woman was, but I couldn't keep myself from rushing after her, well, hobbling really, and pleading with her, "Teach me, please, teach me." What is it like for you living among humans? I mean, yeah, there's probably some amount of racism towards a half-orc, but I would assume there's enough variety in species, race, whatever they're calling it in this system, that he wouldn't stand out that much. What is it like for you living among humans? It isn't easy, Your Grace. I was born and raised in Restov. I don't know a single word of orc. I devoted my entire life to proving myself worthy to bear the name Aldori. But to most people, I'm still a half-orc first and foremost. Anything else is secondary. It infuriated me when I was younger, but with age, I've learned to accept my fate. To me, I'm simply Castle, a street urchin from Restov, who became the student of Swordlord Jamandi Aldori. Nothing more, nothing less. So he keeps referring to himself as just being taught by, he's a student of. I don't think I've heard him refer to himself as the son or stepson of Jamandi Aldori. He's a student of her. But she referred to him as her son, which I think is interesting. Thank you. Let's discuss something less personal. If it pleases your Grace, I need to discuss politics and affairs of the barony with you. Would be good to know his advice. We're not necessarily going to do exactly what our advisors advise, but that's why they're here. How may I be of service, Your Grace? What's the situation between the Aldori and the Royal House Sertova? I mean, I would be shocked if he says something different than Jamandi. Like, even if he doesn't fully agree, the chance of him disagreeing with her seems unlikely. Castle's face remains impassive, but his speech becomes slower, more deliberate. The Sertovas and the Aldori are different in nature and spirit. They are as water and stone, a snake and an eagle. When Coral the Conqueror came to our lands, the Sertovas didn't even attempt to defend themselves. They gave up the crown in exchange for positions of power in the new court, along with safety of their lands. Oh, okay. So the Restovs, no, Restov's the city. Anyway, the Aldori side of things, they fought back, and so were put in a lesser position by Coral the Conqueror versus those who willingly allied themselves. Interesting. The Eldori went to war and lost. I dare not even say valiantly lost. The damage inflicted on Rosalind, there's the word that was escaping me, Rosalind's armies by the Red Dragons of Coral the Conqueror, well, it was a slaughter, a crushing defeat. A barely noticeable frown darkens Castle's face. Even with 2 centuries of effort, the Eldori and Rosalind have yet to fully recover. Makes sense. For 2 centuries, we've fought for survival, while the Sertovans have flourished and grown stronger at the side of the throne. Needless to say, now that King Noleski Sertova and his sister Natala rule over Brevoy, our relationship hasn't improved. The Sertovas fear the Eldori, and the Eldori don't trust the Sertovas. That's the current situation between our houses. I think he did actually give a decent overview, more so than we got from Jamandi, which I appreciate. What can you tell me about the River Kingdoms? In times past, they were little more than a nest of bandits. Frankly, that hasn't really changed. Castle frowns disapprovingly. Of all the kingdoms, Pitax is probably of the greatest interest. King Iravetti rose to power too quickly and too easily. I would recommend your grace take great caution with him. We've been hearing a lot about Pitax and King Iravetti. I assume we'll have a run-in, more so than just with Tartuccio, at some point. I have questions on another topic. Of course, your grace. I must know more of the history of Brevoy and the neighboring lands. Castle's eyes light up. In Restov, I spent nearly as much time studying historical chronicles as I did training with the sword. What would you like to discuss, your grace? I'd like to hear about the early history of Brevoy. That's a story written in blood, Eldori blood mostly. In the beginning, Brevoy was 2 independent lands. House Sertova reigned over Issia, and the Eldori ruled Rosland. They were not peaceable neighbors. Issia's soil was too poor to sustain its population, and its people were too cruel and proud to simply stand by and watch as their neighbors prospered. I'd be willing to bet that Restov's northern walls still hold a few marks left by Sertova's soldiers during the frequent raids from ages past. It was Coral Regarvia, later known as Coral the Conqueror, who put an end to all that. He brought each realm to its knees, only one side not willingly. The other ended up paying a devastating toll. Tell me more about the Sword Lords. I could speak all day about the Sword Lords, but I'll try to condense things so as not to bore your grace. Our history goes back to ancient times, when Rosland was ruled by Baron Syrian I. He was a notorious squabbler and duelist, but at the time, he wasn't as skillful as he thought. After losing a fight against a local gang leader, the Baron was the one who issued the challenge. He went into exile to hide his shame. But that was just the beginning. No one knows where Syrian wandered, but a few years later he returned to Rosland a changed man. He challenged that same gang leader to another duel and bested him handily. The Baron then declared an open challenge. Anyone who could defeat him would be rewarded handsomely. After that, not a month would pass without Syrian seeing another challenger. Renowned fighters and experienced warriors came and went, but none, not a single one, could best the Baron. In those years, Syrian took on his new name, Eldori, but many people refer to him simply the Sword Baron. So the Baron was the first Sword Lord? The very same. His heirs inherited the secrets of his dueling style, along with the name Eldori. Ever since, the name has been passed down from master to student, along with the title Sword Lord. The Eldori are simultaneously a family and an alliance. Sword Lords will usually teach their own children, but many of us were brought in from outside the family. Occasionally, you can even find a half-orc fosterling or two. Castle gives a slight bow. So maybe that's what Jamandi was speaking of. If the Eldori see their training as a family and an alliance, and they typically are training their children, she may not have formally adopted him, but by teaching him the Eldori Sword Lord training techniques and bringing him up, it could be claimed that he's both pupil and potentially akin to a son. And so she's being not 100% truthful, because I don't see any indication that she actually formally adopted him. It seems like she has just brought him in as a student. But that's fine. Let's change the subject. My pleasure, Your Grace. How do you like being a general? Castle bows. I thank you for the faith you placed in me. I shall do my best to prove worthy of your trust. Thank you. I've learned what I need. Alright, Jod, anything new from you?
How may I serve you, Your Grace?
There is not. Thank you for the story. We will speak later. Keston, anything new from you?
How may I serve you, Your Grace?
Keston nods at you, pauses a moment, then bows awkwardly. What did you do to be exiled? I believe I have a right to know. Didn't he tell us that he refused a marriage?
Fair enough. For a Garess, the prosperity of the house and the honor of the name stands above all else. And I was betrothed to a widow from another noble house. This union was of great importance to the family. However, 3 months before the wedding, I met a commoner girl, gentle and pure, and we fell in love. I would have rather died than leave my Tanya, so I decided to break off the engagement with my noble bride. I could never have expected what would follow.
An uneasy grin twists Keston's lips. Yeah, I'm fairly certain we've heard this.
My father was furious. I'd set a pointless love affair above the interests of the house. He expelled me from the family and ordered to leave our lands under threat of death. And Tanya, her mother was seriously ill, and she stayed behind to care for her rather than follow me into exile. Thus, I was on my own, disgraced, without a name, and without love.
A shadow of a smile crosses Keston's face, only to leave it more grim than before.
Don't imagine that I ask for pity. Everyone gets what they deserve.
Keston remarks in a somber tone. If I were to offer you a public position, what job would you like to do?
I believe I can manage to uphold the law. Being a warden would suit me well.
Okay, I'll see you later. Lindsay, anything new from you? No. Just a moment, I just got something. Lindsay quickly scribbles something in her notebook, then raises her eyes and smiles at you. Hi. I have to go. Just don't leave without me. Of course, I could just write whatever you tell me, but if I wanted to stay cooped up in a dusty room, I'd still be sleeping through the lectures at the academy. We've already checked that chest. That was my standard chest. The guards are just guards. Yeah, Storyteller. Hi there. The man standing before you resembles an elf, but a very old one. His face is wrinkled, and his beard is as white as mountain snow. The man seems to be completely blind. The old man stares past you with unseeing eyes. He seems to be consumed in his thoughts. He mutters a soft melody, swaying back and forth slightly to its rhythm. The man shudders briefly and stops singing. His mouth opens and closes a few times, bringing to mind a fish brought ashore. Ah, who is there? Is that you, Your Grace? Who are you? I'm an elf from Kionen. My name is not important. I'm the Storyteller, collector of stories. I collect unknown legends of ancient times. The man smiles, but it doesn't seem to be directed toward you. Kionen was the ancient elven homeland, right? Yeah. Long ago, I was a smith in Kionen. The fire of the forge has burned out my eyes, but I am grateful for it. If I could see, I would yet forge suits of armor for Iadara's guards. Instead, I have stepped on the path of an adventurer and gathered a gather of ancient legends. The old man ponders silently for a moment. Many people are long dead. Their homes crumbled to dust. Their bodies turned to ash. Only legends can still tell us of their triumphs and defeats, their joys and fears. I would be so interested to hear the stories told about us after our demise. I've always been drawn to the Stolen Lands, where countless expeditions, armies, and even kingdoms have met their untimely ends. When I learned of a new barony being founded in the heart of these lands, I knew I wanted to be part of its story, so I made the journey here. There are 3 baronies being established here. I'm curious why he chose ours. Are you really an elf? Do other elves age like you have? Elves typically don't grow facial hair. So that's an oddity. Half-elves do. But if he seems incredibly old, although maybe he's just a whole old half-elf. Are you really an elf? Do other elves age like you have? A common question. Despite my unusual looks, I am an elf. And an old one, yes. Perhaps older than any other elf of Kionen. However, I doubt my age alone is responsible for my appearance. I keep the stories of many people and races, some forever gone from the face of Galarian, but they live on in my memory and my heart. When I accept a new story, I lock it within myself, bearing the weight of its words and the emotions they invoke. I sometimes think that I probably should have died long ago, but some incomprehensible force is keeping me alive and granting me the ability to continue my quest to gather stories. Be it divine power or fell curse, I'm grateful either way. And how could you tell it was me? The old man smiles slightly. It is not hard to recognize a ruler by the way she walks. No one in here steps as confidently as you, your grace. I doubt I yet have the walk of a ruler, because it is new to me. But sure. Alright, would you care to trade stories with me? The man's voice rustles like autumn leaves. I am a collector, not a trader. If I share a story with you, you receive the power to pass it further, changing or embellishing it, whether willingly or not. Can I be certain you will keep my stories intact in their absolute purity? The storyteller ponders for several moments. No, I do not think so. At least, not yet. These legends are the most precious valuables of this world, the last remnants of ancient tribes. They are beacons illuminating the way to the past, allowing us to meet generations long gone. I cannot let their light fade. The path to the past must not be lost. The old man thinks for a moment, then continues, but I can offer you a deal, your grace. If on your journeys you discover items that come from eras past, bring them to me, and if my eyes can see the stories that these relics hold, I will gladly share them with you. If you find all the pieces of any ancient artifacts, I can even recall my smithing skills to unite them and restore their power. Alright, I assume this is just restate what you just told me. What is it you wanted from me? In your travels, pay special attention to the items from the ancient eras. There must be an abundance of such things throughout the Stolen Lands, for these lands remember stories of the rise and fall of many kingdoms. And if you find all the pieces of any ancient artifacts, I can even recall my smithing skills to unite them and restore their power. I've found the shards of an ancient artifact. Can you restore it for me at the anvil? Or I've brought some relics. Are any worthy of a story? Yeah, we found a lot of various things like the ancient Rostlandic coins that we've found dozens of. That's probably what he's talking about. But first, can you restore an ancient artifact with your anvil? May I? The storyteller gently touches the item from your pack. This scorched piece of metal is a part of a curious artifact known as the Necklace of Double Crosses. Inside it, I sense a story of many deeds, not heroic, but low and maleficent. If you find all 7 of its fragments, I will be able to restore the artifact and recount its inglorious story. The storyteller finishes inspection. Remember me, should you find anything noteworthy. So we've got at least one piece of that artifact, that necklace, but we need more. I've brought some relics. Are any worthy of a story? The storyteller's eyebrows raise. How interesting. May I, your grace? He gently touches the items from your pack. A coin from a non-existent country. When Cor the Conqueror mastered Rostland, having claimed it for Brevoy, he prohibited the issuance of and use of such coins. Both ordinary folk and the Aldori swordlords were required to use new coins decorated with Coral's profile, but no one was quick to be rid of these prohibitive coins. Oh no. In many houses, they still store boxes and whole chests of such coins, waiting for the day when Rostland declares its independence. So we lost an ancient Rostlandic coin, but gained 3,400 gold. Storyteller fingers caress the symbol shaped like a tree leaf. And what is this? I hear the voices of trees, smell the scent of fresh leaves. A dryad mark, is it not? I would be happy to purchase it from you. Token of the dryad worth 2,700. Storyteller idly toys with the ancient plain-looking coin. What was the name of the Caloran ruler who issued these coins? Caloran was the name by which the ancient Cyclops Empire was known in the records of Iblidos, which itself is one of the oldest human civilizations of Kazmaron. The empire was founded by exiled Cyclopses escaping from brutal Golgan, but did not last long. Today, the area that was Coloran is part of Eobaria. The empire was destroyed in the event known as the Earthfall and the ensuing chaos of the Age of Darkness. What was the name of the Coloran ruler who issued this coin? Does anyone remember now? What did the Cyclops use it to purchase? Food, books, weapons, perhaps someone's life or their freedom? Who can say? Its history was erased by Earthfall, but I will buy it from you for significantly more than it was worth in its own time. 400 gold. An Earthfall, name given to a cataclysmic event in which is the name given to the cataclysmic event in which of a swarm of meteorites impacted Galarian in -5293 AR. It resulted in the destruction of the human empires of Thassalon and Asland, which were consumed by earthquakes and massive tidal waves, and the creation of the Inner Sea. The cloud of dust thrown up by Earthfall's impact settled in Galarian's upper atmosphere and blotted out the sun for 1,000 years, creating the Age of Darkness. So that is very ancient history. And this is a coin from even before then. Wow. Storyteller weighs the soldier's tags in his palm. The soldier does not ask where the banners of war are headed. He or she goes to battle, dies, and leaves it to others to decide whether the cause was just. This tag belonged to one of many warriors who helped establish the glory of the Taldan Empire. If you would permit me, I would gladly purchase it from you. Taldan warrior dog tags for 1800. The belongings of brave heroes who performed their feats here before you. I sense you would be interested to hear their story. These lands took many lives and spawned many legends. I can now tell you of a distant expedition undertaken by a group of Brevik heroes to a place known as the Drowned Trees. I'd be happy to trade the whole set of items for their story. Can you hear it calling to us? Let us hurry. Yeah, tell me about the Drowned Trees. I hear rowlocks creaking, river water splashing, bushes rustling, and arrows singing through the air. I feel an invincible will, a cold resolution to finish what's been started, no matter the cost. My chain armor clings to my body, and my young hands grip a sword tightly. I am the leader of a group of brave souls set off to the Stolen Lands to clear them from bandits once and for all. We lost Restavik Ranger's broken arrow, Restavik Inquisitor's broken crossbow, Restavik Paladin's crumpled helmet, Restavik Sword Lord's empty sheath, and Restavik Sorceress's discharged staff gained 4,000 gold. We sail on a large freight boat. It serves as bait for the bandits, who keep throwing themselves at it, only to find death, a death as inglorious as the life they've lived. For time to time, we manage to capture a prisoner. While our Inquisitor talks to them, I go to the stern, shutting my ears to their cries. I remind myself that these are scum, drenched in blood to the elbow. I think upon our cause, freedom before my homeland, an independent Rostland, but still, my goosebumps rise with each pitiful cry. I must steel myself and be strong. Please continue. Who is in your group? Why do you question the prisoners? Have there always been so many bandits in the Stolen Lands? So I guess we can ask these questions before he continues the story. Who is in your group? A paladin, a ranger, a sorcerer, a priest, an inquisitor, and me, a fighter. All experienced combatants. Over and over, we've saved each other's lives in times of need. Why do you question the prisoners? The bandits attacking our boat are small fry. We're looking for their main lair, a place known as the Drowned Trees. We seek the leader of the bandits, an underwater monster named Dargut Udrun, and we will not leave without his head. Have there always been so many bandits in the Stolen Lands? This land swarms with them, and we meet them more often than common merchants. You see, we started a rumor that the Aldori Sword Lords are using this boat to sneak treasures out of the country. Now half the gangs in the area are hunting us. Please continue. At night, it seems the whole army is attacking our boat, far too many for us to fend off, but luckily, we don't have to. While they battle monsters we've summoned in a pitch-black magical darkness, we drink the potions we prepared and dive under the water. The scum break into the hold, but instead of treasure, they find their final surprise, the work of a Restavik alchemist, a trap, a dozen barrels of highly explosive oils. We watch from a safe distance as the boat is blown to pieces in a deafening explosion. Everything has gone according to plan. The more who die here, the fewer will meet in the Drowned Trees. We march through the forest, then camp to regain our strength. Their nest is close. Our Inquisitor discovered everything, even the location of their secret entrance. Today we rest. Tomorrow, the Bandit King will draw his final breath. Even if you sneak into the bandit camp unseen, how will you handle all of them? Each of us is worth 24 in battle. Besides, we are well prepared. Chaos, confusion, and summoned monsters will be on our side, and fire. A lot of fire. What kind of secret entrance? An underwater path winding along the swamp bottom. We had potions to breathe freely underwater. We couldn't see beyond our outstretched arms in the muddy water, and there were plenty of traps along the way, but the Inquisitor learned all the signs that marked the safe passage. At least, we believe she did. Please continue. We trudged through muddy waters. Suddenly, a giant log studded with blades falls from above. I managed to stagger back, but the paladin who walked alongside me is now a gory sight, spread thin across the ground. The next moment, a monstrous creature emerges from the darkness, a twisted cross between fish and monkey. A clawed hand reaches out, effortlessly melting away the Inquisitor's flesh, then ripping out her heart. This is the king of the bandits, Dargot Droon. The bandit we captured did not lie, but the secret passage he spoke of led right into the underwater lair of his master. I bury my terror deep in my soul. There is no time for weakness. There were only 4 of us left, and we are gasping for air by the time the freak's lifeblood stains the water. We leave the beheaded body on dry land, then retreat and recover. Only now I allow my hands to tremble, my breath to race unbidden, my tears to flow. What kind of monster was this Dargot Droon? They say he was once a normal human, but he offended a powerful fae. She cursed him, turning him into a monster, but one bestowed with the ability to breathe underwater and melt human flesh with his touch. With these powers, he became the Bandit King. Do you find anything useful in Dargot's lair? Oh yes, the Bandit King was a true collector of magical items. We lost 2 of our friends, but what we found there would help us finish what we started. So the bandit wanted to set you up, but he played right into your hands. You could say so. Dargot Droon didn't expect an armed party to appear there before him, but we too were unprepared for the encounter. The bandit's lie cost both sides dearly. It's an interesting thing in Pathfinder and various D&D settings that always treat death as such a horrible event when there are magic and spells that can bring people back to life. I don't know how powerful these people were, how wealthy, etc. But it feels like if you gained a bunch of treasure from taking out this bandit leader, you likely could have brought your 2 friends back to life, and therefore it's not actually that costly. Please continue. The next night, we return the same way. We swim up to the surface and quietly gather our bearings. Above us loom the drowned trees, enormous dead trunks emerging from the water, bridges crisscrossing their branches. The air is filled with the sounds of battle. Having lost their king, the bandits now battle each other for power, and we are ready to join the fight. We leave at dawn. Behind us, smoke rises up to the sky. The bandit nest smolders and blazes. Only 2 of us remain, the priest and I. We've won, but this victory tastes of ash, cinders, and swamp ooze. I ask him, tell me, Esvanki, was it worth it? He puts his hand on my shoulder and says, yes, Jamandi. Now the stolen lands will be ours. I wish I believed him. Esvanki was the priest of Erastil, I'm almost certain, that says he no longer is willing to go out and fight. Instead, he stays in town and heals the various injuries in town. And obviously, Jamandi Aldori. So this isn't an ancient tale. This is actually a pretty recent tale. Storyteller heaves a sigh, runs his hand over his face and rubs his temple. Thus the expedition to the drowned trees came to an end. I must admit, it was no easy feeling for me to stand in the place of this daring woman. The steel of her soul was colder than ice. Wait, is this the story of Jamandi Aldori, but she's still alive? If Jamandi has once cleared the stolen land of bandits, why must we do it all over again? Or thank you for the story, Storyteller. Is this the story of Jamandi Aldori? But she's still alive. Some people become legends in their own lifetime. Jamandi has performed many glorious feats, and there may yet be more ahead. If Jamandi has once cleared the stolen lands of bandits, why must we do it all over again? The death of Dargot Droon and destruction of the drowned trees weakened the bandits, but not for long. The paladin who died was a noble. It was he who was supposed to claim the stolen lands and send in his troops, while Jamandi sought another candidate, or a priest capable of performing a resurrection ritual. A new bandit leader emerged in the destroyed fortress on the bank of the Tuskwater. Within a year, the stolen lands were swarming with gangs once more. Thank you for the story, Storyteller. The Storyteller inclines his head respectfully. Your stories are amazing. You make it sound as though you're actually there in the moment. The storyteller nods. I gained this gift after I lost my eyes. When I touch relics, I can feel the thoughts and emotions of those who previously owned them. If the emotions are strong enough, I can even see the events that left those impressions. I don't think there's any point in asking him to tell one of the stories again. We only have one story and we just heard it. I need a wise advisor at my court. Would you like to serve me in matters of state? The storyteller's voice grows soft. Thank you for your words. I am unlikely to be able to interpret the intricacies of the political world or the affairs of the treasury, but my advice regarding the magic of the arts would be useful to any ruler. I'll leave you to your legends till we meet again. The storyteller doesn't answer, his unseeing eyes staring ahead blankly. Well, that was cool. I like that. So now we can head outside, or I think we had another door to head farther in. I'd rather explore everything inside before we head out. So this is my room. So that's the same chest that we have outside in the throne room. They're linked, which is sort of awkward. And then we have a flail. Flail +1. I think that is actually good for you. Just a straight upgrade. So yeah, that's the scorched fragment of a necklace, which we have several pieces of. He said there's 7 of them, and we have 6. So somewhere else out there is one more piece that we missed. That is a shame. I don't know if we could have found it already. If I missed it, or if we're going to find it later. Then we have 2 different buttons. One looks like it's just leaving here. And that one goes out to the map, maybe? Although I expect we have quite a bit to also explore in town. So I might save that for another episode.
Hello, my savior.
Although, I guess we'll deal with this.
We'd meet again. And here I am.
Savory aroma of herbs and flowers is the first thing that lets you know that your longtime acquaintance is here. The nymph looks at you in a strange way, like she's never looked at you before.
I see your fate has changed since last we met. Now you are the ruler who will determine the destiny of these lands. I am their living heart, the whisper of the wind, the strength of rivers, the luxuriant growth of the meadows. Do you wish to touch this power?
You're obviously Fae, and making deals with Fae always comes at a cost. So I don't know.
I will show you a place where we can finally meet in flesh, you and I. Deep in the woods, there is an old mossy ruins long abandoned, nearly swallowed by the thicket. There is an old tree growing among the stones in the yard, which I remember as a seed. A shadow under its green crown I call my verdant chambers. Visit me there, my lady, and come alone. A nymph's reward awaits you.
Okay. Wait, I wish to ask you something. I don't need any rewards. Seeing you is the best reward for me. I was happy to help. I'll see you soon in the Verdant Chambers. I hope I will be well rewarded for my efforts. I did save you along with your precious flowers and bushes. That's super rude. I don't have time to wander through some thicket. I wish to ask you something.
Forgive me. Nymphs are not made for cities. The noise and vanity of human settlements vex me. I will answer all your questions, but there, in the silence of my asylum.
Alright. I mean, I don't think my city is overly busy, but Sure. I was happy to help. I will see you soon in the Verdant Chambers. I'm not thrilled that I have to come alone. But yes, I'll see you soon.
So long. I will await you there, as the ground waits for spring under the heavy winter snow.
Okay. In defeating the Stag Lord, we not only completed the Aldori's task, but saved a beautiful nymph, the Guardian of the Bloom, who no one besides our daring leader has seen. A well-deserved reward awaits our heroine. Yeah, but I think we will end the episode here, and next time I will wander about town and see what else is going on. I think Kaesi said that she would meet us here somewhere, but there's probably other things as well. So for now, thank y'all for watching, and I will see you guys then. Bye.